Caitlin wins the championship, she's pretty damn good. Like, yeah, she's a coach.
All the level you feel the praise, that's the level you're gonna feel all the hate too. So you gotta stay right in the middle.
Picture this. Caitlin Clark, the rookie who just made WNBA history with a triple-double in her debut, might not win Rookie of the Year. Sounds crazy, right? Well, Dan Patrick just revealed some shocking info that explains why. Let's break down what he said and why it matters for Caitlin's future. Please like this video to make Caitlin Clark in the WNBA bigger than the NBA. If you thought the WNBA's strategy to slow down Caitlin Clark would be effective, you would be mistaken. What a spectacular backfire. In addition to being excellent, Clark's WNBA debut was historic. She dominated the game, and in her very first game, she recorded a triple-double. Yes, exactly. 13 assists, 12 rebounds, and 19 points. Oh, and don't forget the 2 thefts she managed to pull off. Clark accomplished this feat and became the first rookie in WNBA history. How about putting out a statement? However, Clark didn't stop there. She persisted in pushing and smashing records. She became the WNBA's fastest rookie to reach 100 points and 50 assists in just 8 games. That is lightning fast, not just swift. She appears to be playing chess when everyone else is engaged in checkers. You may be asking yourself, how is she managing to do this? Why is Clark so unique? It's not just that she can score. She may be leading all rookies in points, but what's really grabbing attention is her playmaking. Clark has 7.4 assists in a game on average. The all-time rookie record of 7.5 assists per game is narrowly missed by that amount. What would happen if she also broke that record? This is where things get really interesting though. Dan Patrick, yes, that Dan Patrick, was astounded by Clark's aptitude for spotting play development. He claimed that she appeared to have eyes in the back of her head. Patrick believes it's because of her soccer experience. Offenses are baffled by the amazing court vision that she has been gifted. Okay, she's good, but is she really that special? Maybe that's on your mind at this point. Let me now present you with this statistic. In her first 3 games, Clark became just the 4th rookie in WNBA history to record 50 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Recall that she is competing against the world's top players in this endeavor. This is no longer college. These are seasoned professionals, and Clark makes it seem so simple. But there's still more. In addition to smashing league records, Clark is also breaking records for her team. For the Indiana Fever, she has already broken records for assists in a single quarter and game. It seems as though she entered the league and exclaimed, "These records? Yes, they are now mine." This is where things start to get a little complex. Clark had an amazing individual season, but her team, the Indiana Fever, had a difficult 0-5 start to the season. You have no idea how annoying that must be. Even though you're playing at an insane level and setting records everywhere you go, your team is unable to secure a victory. However, what's the deal? It's where Clark's actual nature comes through. She isn't allowing her losses to bring her down. She continues to compete, giving it her all in every game. She seems to be saying, "Go for it. If necessary, I'll take on the entire league." You may be asking yourself, wait a minute. Why would the WNBA want to keep its biggest star secret? Yes, it sounds absurd. However, Dan Patrick just made that revelation. And believe me when I say that this is not just startling, but extremely unsettling. Here's the situation then. Dan Patrick made a shocking revelation regarding Caitlin Clark's treatment by the WNBA. He was quoted as saying, "What? This is expected of Caitlin Clark? She's not the Rookie of the Year. Angel Reese is, because that's a surprise." Is that really true? In other words, they're basically saying that Clark is too good, and her incredible performances don't matter. But hold on, it gets wilder still. Patrick was referring to more than just Clark. He brought attention to the strange disparity in treatment between Clark and Angel Reese. It appears as though they are engaged in 2 distinct games with 2 sets of regulations. You may be asking yourself, who is Angel Reese? She is yet another outstanding WNBA rookie. The problem is that despite the fact that Clark is shattering records all around her, some are attempting to minimize her accomplishments. Why? Since they claim that's what was anticipated of her. However, since when is it bad to live up to exceptionally high standards? What if we use this strategy in other sports? Oh, sorry, LeBron, you can't be MVP because we expected you to be amazing. Well, it's absurd, right? And Dan Patrick isn't the only one who says this. It's being noted by other sports commentators as well. Colin Cowherd brought attention to the fact that some media outlets are emphasizing Clark's poor performances rather than her consistent improvement. It appears to be on some people's agendas, he said. However, why? What is the true intention here? Is establishing competition the main goal, or is there another issue at hand? Some, like Jason Whitlock, believe that Clark's star is being purposefully dimmed by the WNBA in order to highlight other players. However, doesn't that seem, counterproductive? Consider it. More than ever, Clark is drawing attention to the WNBA. In addition to being thrilling to watch, she is shattering records and igniting interest in women's basketball. Isn't that precisely what the league ought to desire? But it seems like there's a strange push to minimize her success rather than celebrate it. As if to say, yeah, she's good, but let's talk about someone else. How annoying must that be for Clark? Do you think this is where the interesting part begins? Clark continues to play every game with her all in spite of everything. She is not being affected by the noise. She's just going about her business, setting new records, and astounding everyone. One might assume that having a superstar like Caitlin Clark would make the WNBA very happy. The fans are raving about her, but some players in the league don't seem to be as thrilled as others. Is it not astounding that Clark has received a staggering 700,000 votes to lead the All-Star race? That's amazing, not to mention good. This is where things start to get really strange. Even though Clark is receiving a ton of love from the crowd, it seems like some in the league and media are attempting to minimize her achievements, as if to say, yeah, she's good, but we expected that. What if we applied that to other sports? Sorry, LeBron, your 30-point triple-double doesn't count because we knew you'd be great. You may be asking yourself, why is this happening? It appears that Clark's predicament is drawing attention to a more significant issue facing women's sports. For recognition, female athletes frequently have to put in twice as much work to get noticed. They must be surprisingly great. Being excellent is not enough. Consider it. Although Clark is shattering records left and right, some people don't seem to care. Why? Since they claim it was anticipated. However, since when is it bad to live up to exceptional high standards? It appears as though they are changing the rules for her, and Clark isn't the only one who has this problem. In general, women's sports frequently fail to receive the proper recognition. Even when they are competing at the highest level, female athletes seem to have to overcome an invisible barrier. This is where the interesting part comes in. Supporters of Clark aren't going to take this lightly. They're uniting behind her and calling for just compensation for her extraordinary accomplishments. Observe what she's doing on the court, they say. How are you able to overlook that? Fans are going so far as to make their own highlight reels on social media and share information about Clark's amazing performances in order to showcase her accomplishments. They seem to be saying, we'll do it ourselves if the official channels won't give her the recognition she deserves. Furthermore, what do you know? It's beginning to have an impact. People are being forced to pay attention by the overwhelming amount of fan support. After all, it's difficult to overlook 700,000 votes. However, there is still much to be done. There are those who demand alterations to the way women's sports are reported in the press. They argue that more diverse voices and those who are aware of the particular difficulties faced by female athletes are needed in sports journalism. There are those who advocate for increased funding for women's sports. They contend that leagues like the WNBA could better showcase their stars and provide them with the stage they deserve if they had greater funding. Furthermore, there is the notion of altering the discourse surrounding women's sports. Why not recognize the accomplishments of female athletes on their own terms? rather than comparing them to those of their male counterparts. Ultimately, the work that Clark is doing is simply amazing. It is not required to be qualified or evaluated in relation to others. It's not like Caitlin Clark's situation involves only one player, you know. It has to do with the future of women's basketball. How much of an impact is she making? Not only is Clark shattering records, but she's also altering the rules. Consider it. When was the last time you noticed the WNBA generating this much interest? Thanks to her amazing performances, Clark is generating conversation about women's basketball in general, as well as about herself specifically. She's gaining more attention from the media, attracting new followers, and demonstrating to everyone how thrilling women's sports can be. This is where things get really interesting, though. Not only is Clark's success beneficial to her, but it also benefits the entire league. More fans translate into more TV deals, merchandise purchases, and ticket sales, like the snowball effect. The more successful Clark is, the greater the attention the WNBA receives, and the more opportunities that arise for each player. That's great. But what if the league doesn't recognize Clark's achievements? That's probably what's on your mind right now. That's where things might get complicated, though. What if Michael Jordan's influence had been disregarded by the NBA in the past? Crazy, huh? That's essentially what some people fear will occur with Clark. Should the WNBA fail to appropriately acknowledge Clark's actions, there may be grave repercussions. We're talking about passed-up chances, disgruntled supporters, and possibly even some players who are unsure if they will receive the credit they merit. It's more than just winning medals and trophies. It's all about having respect for the athletes and the game. It's not all bad news, though. The way that sports leagues handle their stars and the sports media in general are being brought to light by Clark's predicament. Tough questions are starting to be asked. Why are some accomplishments praised while others are given less attention? Is there a prejudice against sports for women? Above all, how can we make it right? Although these are difficult questions, they are nonetheless crucial ones. The truth is that it's not just about Clark. It's about all the young girls who wish to be like her and watch her play. It's about leveling the playing field so that all abilities and efforts, regardless of gender, are valued. What then is doable? To begin with, the sports media needs to include a wider range of voices. We need people who are aware of the particular difficulties faced by female athletes. Fair and impartial reporting that honors women's athletic accomplishments equally with that of men's is required. Furthermore, it goes beyond the media. Teams like the WNBA must also take the initiative. They must make investments in fan cultivation, content creation, and star promotion because everyone benefits from the league's success. However, what's the deal? Already, things are changing. It's Clark's amazing performances that are making people pay attention. Fans of women's basketball are becoming more and more engaged with the game. Women's sports are beginning to receive the coverage they merit in the media. Clark is leading this sea of change, which resembles a tidal wave. The truly exciting part is that Clark isn't by herself. In sports, there are a ton of gifted women who are setting records and pushing boundaries. From Megan Rapinoe in soccer to Simone Biles in gymnastics, women are showcasing their incredible abilities to the world. And with every incredible performance, they're transforming attitudes and providing opportunities for the following generation.